All right, welcome to another edition of International Soccer Break. My name is Sahil. I'm your host, and today I'm here with Rahi. And you'll see a face you haven't seen for a little while. Ashana, we're bringing in her because we're going to be talking a little U.S. women's soccer. But before I get there, Ashana, I got to ask you a little bit. The Copa America has been in the news the last few days, so I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on the men and their group?
I mean, I think I probably have the same thought that most people have, and that is relief that we're not in the same group as Argentina. And that's pretty much my only thought, not just because it would be challenging, but I think, there's a lot of, obviously Messi has risen in popularity in the United States, rightfully so. And I think a lot of people would be like, especially people who are new to soccer and new to supporting our US men, would be conflicted if we were in the same group because people love to root for Messi and then therefore love to root for Argentina. So I'm just happy with that. I think Uruguay is going to be our toughest team in that group, but I'm here for it.
Play Argentina in the final. That's when we play them.
Which that will be a good matchup.
But you're not worried about Bolivia or Panama for that matter. You think we should take care of those games?
Yes. I mean, we don't have a great track record just in, with Central American teams, and they tend to stump us a little bit. So, Panama is, I don't know. We never know. But
avenge that Gold Cup loss that we had, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy that I think it's reasonable. It's a reasonable group, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's a fair assessment.
I think that is a spot on assessment. So let's go on now to the women. Let's get to the women. And here's what we're talking today. U.S. women's national team road to the Olympics. So we just had some games against China. Who impressed you to get onto that plane to Paris? The roster is obviously not going to be decided just yet. We know Emma Hayes is probably giving her input as well from England, but right now we want to decide, who do you think is getting a shot at this?
Can I say one thing? I can't wait for Emma Hayes when she's done with Chelsea. I can't wait for her to start. I'm so excited about this change. I think the U.S. women's team made an excellent hire. I think she's going to bring a level of respect that this team needs. And I think she's going to make the right decisions on sitting some veterans who need to be sat down at this point and playing some youngsters who need to be elevated. And that's what I'm most excited about, because there's some young people that need to be on this plane to Paris that need to play a significant role. Who are you excited about, Ashana?
I mean, I completely agree with that. There's this great clip that's circulating where she's, talking to the players on Chelsea, and she's like, "This is fucking Chelsea. Like, we demand excellence and whatever." And that's exactly the kind of this team really needs to be whipped into shape, and that's exactly the kind of energy I think they need. But yeah, I'm excited for her to come. That being said, I think that both of these games were terrible. We massively underperformed, even though, we won, especially, first game we got 3 goals. Like it seems like, at least it seemed like it was good, but it really wasn't. And then, you go into the next game and the first half was atrocious as usual. We only have Naomi Girma, who is the most consistent player on the team, the most consistent player on the World Cup squad. I would include Alyssa Nair in that. She was great entire time. Lindsay Horan, pretty consistent in that second game. Everybody else was very inconsistent, and the player I'm most excited about, who I genuinely felt made a difference, was Midge Purse. I mean, she's coming off this Gotham FC win. She's been in the game for a while too. It's taken her a while to kind of, I think she's a little bit older than people realize, I think. And I think she's having her moment. So she's the only one. She's an excellent dribbler. And unlike some of the younger, newer players, I think she pares it down a little bit, which is good. I think that's something that players like, Sophia Smith especially could work on. So yeah, excited about her. And I thought that Corbin Albert, she, barely played that last game, but when she played on the field, she came in with speed. She came in with everything we're really missing in the midfield. And that position, man, Rose Lavelle is not doing it for me, and we have issues in the midfield. Emily Sonnet's not really doing it for me, and I think that's the area we need the most work on.
I have to say, I have to admit that you were on the Midge Purse train early, Ishana. And let me tell you, I am completely on board. I haven't seen an American player like this in a long time. Because you can see some of the other players we had, the Sophia Smiths, the Lynn Williams, they are not as clean on the ball. They're effective at times, but they lose the ball. Midge Purse may very well be the best dribbler we have on this potential roster. She's an excellent dribbler. Sometimes she takes it a touch too far, I think, but she'll figure that out. I haven't seen a player that dangerous. And the nice thing is with Rodman on the other side, Rodman's more pace and Midge Purse is more guile. And the combo of the two is going to be deadly, and they should be the starters moving forward. And the one player you didn't mention is Jaden Shaw, I think, who I think was very good. A little sloppy at times, but really fantastic and scored a great goal. Perhaps a big future role in the midfield, I think.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I think actually a player like Rodman, she's quite good at placing the ball. Like she's very good with assists, and I think people don't give her enough credit for that. Her shots are not very clinical, even though she'd score that one. But I think that I think there could be some chemistry up there with that combo, like you mentioned. But the problem is which is the same problem that the U.S. men had. Traditionally, the U.S. team, they have trouble, our coaching staff has trouble kind of transitioning the vets out and bringing these new players in. And in my opinion, the only vet who should maybe, or, I guess there's a couple, Becky Sauerbrunn, but Alex Morgan is probably the only person I think who should be taken on the squad as a sub. She should not start. She should be there just for leadership.
I want to have a whole separate video just on that topic. We'll do that closer to the, when they actually release the roster, but whether or not she's going to be on that plane to Paris. But go ahead, continue.
Well, I think chemistry is big. You talked about chemistry, and something I saw that I haven't seen in a while. You look at Jaden Shaw and Midge Purse play together, even Rodman as well. There's chemistry there, which is something we haven't seen, and we didn't see at all during the World Cup. It looked like the players had never met. So now I look at this younger group of players coming through, and I see that they're starting to play together in ways that I don't see from the veterans anymore. So I think the more we can accelerate that transition, the better. Chemistry is something we've been missing for a long time now.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, with Sophia Smith, because you cannot miss that many shots. The amount of shots she missed, especially in that first game, I was like, this is she's I don't know what's going on with her. She's not, I think everybody had really high hopes, but there's some sort of disconnect. We're seeing a bunch of really skilled young players who individually are so skilled, but they're just not being able to play together. And I think that's something that Emma Hayes will come in and I don't know. What do you think? Do you guys think Fischel is gonna? I don't think she would. I don't think she's probably gonna come in, but she does play with Hayes on Chelsea, so I'm wondering if.
For me, I just can't wait for Mal Swanson to come back. Right, I think that's a huge. You forget how good she was leading up to the World Cup and how she could have really set the tournament alight, and then of course that terrible injury. But I think she's a player that when she's healthy, I think Sophia Smith sits, Alex Morgan sits, Lynn Williams sits, because Mal Swanson is that good.
Do you guys both feel, okay, what I saw from the recent games against China, there's enough there that this team is going to win the Olympics?
Under this current leadership, no. However, with Emma Hayes coming in, I think that is the most hope I have. And also, to be honest, I mean, the UK not qualifying and Sweden not qualifying, like that gives us a huge advantage. So it almost feels like,
Yeah.
I don't know, a
The
combination
best
of that.
teams there. The best teams there will, I mean, the World Cup winners will probably get in. So you'll probably see Spain and, right now, just France. So yeah, US
But
way ahead.
but I mean, if you saw those 2 games against China, that if Spain qualifies, that's not getting it done against Spain. I mean, Spain is by far the best team in the world based on what we've seen from any other team over the past year or so.
Yeah,
But
it's funny. I mean, our saving grace to me is our defensive line. I think it's super strong. Even like a player like Emily Fox, who, the second game, like it wasn't obviously she had to be taken out and she, wasn't performing to her part. She's still such a solid defender. And you have like Crystal Dunn as a sub. I look at the defensive line and I'm like, okay, we're solid. But I don't know. I think it just depends on how much chemistry we can build in our midfield and in our offense.
Yeah.
But that's a great point, the defensive line, because as much as I just talked about Spain, but you remember how they did against Japan, right? So we're solid in the back. That's a big thing moving forward. Look, Emma Hayes for me, I'm so excited, and she can make all the difference.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see who actually makes the plane, who makes that final roster for the Olympics. But US is in, Great Britain not in, Sweden not in. So we can at least start off there. And I think a lot of players in the mix who maybe will push some of the perennial players out. And I think that's exciting, so just like Shauna and Rahi talked about earlier. So as always, whenever we talk about the US, we have to end it with Go USA. This time is the US Women's Redemption Tour starts now and leads into the summer when the new head honcho takes over, Ms. Emma Hayes. But go USA.